information has been given to me by a person I've known for 6 months, and he's proven to be highly credible in the past. And he is reporting that he's got information from an actual chemtrail geoengineering engineered aerosol pilot who is inside these programs. So this is new information. You can also find this posted on geoengineeringwatch.org, Dane Wigington's site. The rest of this, I'm just going to read the posts that First of all, I would like to say I do not agree with my mission assignments, but what soldier ever truly does? Several of us have considered bucking the ranks and going AWOL from time to time. We are kept in the dark when it comes to getting honest answers about what we are really spraying. Should they discover that we or our families are actively inquiring about your so-called chemtrails term, then automatic and swift disciplinary action will be taken. HARP and radar are two other non-allowed research subjects. Unless our children are learning about these in base schools, we cannot educate ourselves or our children through any public tutoring system. I would not intentionally spray my children or family with toxic aerosols, but as you must know, 80% or better do not have any family or children. Indigo pilots are chosen from the top ranks within the Air Force, Navy, and Coast Guard. Most of the pilots are, quote, hardened to humanity, unquote, and could care less about killing off unwanted or leeching aspects of America and the world. I swear to you, the majority of the pilots are like machines. I call them tanker terminators. I should not be telling you this, but nearly 1/3 of all flights are being orchestrated from small unnamed islands, where newly constructed bases are being built at a rate of 8 per year. On these extremely remote islands, there are HARP arrays of every possible design, with many arrays surrounding these islands within the depths of the ocean itself. The Navy has developed sophisticated underwater construction technology that allows fully autonomous robot submersibles to travel great distances and even manufacture parts for these massive underwater arrays as they progress across the open seafloor. Every time that you see or hear about military exercises at sea, they are basically there to give support and resupply their army of underwater robotic minions. There is possibly one aquatic robot per plane, and will soon be double that. You will never be able to Google Earth search any of this, other than an occasional error in blurring some island bases or smudging images of underwater arrays. It is impossible to locate all these artifacts. They even paint fake clouds over some of our island installations to keep prying eyes away. I have been shown some of these images by civilian friends. That is the reason I know this. I completely understand your concern for human safety, but here is the kicker. We are shown videos in our training of catastrophic destruction to our homeland by very sophisticated weapons, then told that these will be the consequences if we don't fly. Our efforts in building a defensive atmospheric weapons shield are the only missions of its kind in the world. We are paid more than any other pilot for our service, other than Air Force One pilots, who make as much or more and are kept in a dark secret world for their own protection. They tell us that secrecy is our protection and not to listen to any public rhetoric. We all know about cyber program Flashpoint, or FP-03, as it is known within the veteran community. This program is a self-destruct sequence that can be remotely activated from any ground, water, underwater-based, or other air mobile unit. The signal is encrypted through 3 satellites and cannot be jammed or blocked. At any given moment, you could have only 15 seconds to make your peace with your God. They tell us that FP exists to keep planes from accidentally going down in heavily populated areas. They can remotely detonate our planes over safe zones, but in the back of your minds, our minds, we are pretty sure this is a fail-safe program to keep pilots from turning over assets to any public, private, or civilian authorities. Have you ever seen any member, any member of the crew survive the few crashes that have occurred. Every plane that has gone down was completely destroyed for good reason, I'm sure. We risk our lives in more ways than one every single time we fly, especially night flights. They are ordering us to fly at lower and lower altitudes. We feel like massive dark force empire crop dusters, and know that one night subsequently brought down by mostly Russian, Chinese, and Korean weaponry. But the media will never cover these events, as they are not allowed to report on our flights either. That must be true, for I have yet to see a detailed or in-length report of our missions on any public venue, other than conspiracy shows and anti-government websites. I risk everything for disclosing so much information, and you will find very few like me. Even my own flight crew would have me arrested and court-martialed if they knew of this dialogue. That is why I cannot email you directly. But from what your cousin tells me, you are also risking everything just to get this information out to your colleagues. I salute you, sir, for standing up to the establishment and Big Brother. I would love to go home tomorrow and not rack up one more single minute of flight time, except for a sweet little Piper Cub or a rat-tail barn racer. I miss those beautiful blue skies from my youth, and I am ashamed for hazing over that dream. Maybe more of my fellow pilots will read or hear about this and decide to come forward as well. I only know a small fraction of the larger picture, as they compartmentalize everything. Should I become aware of any new significant developments, I will email your cousin. And now this is the man I have contact with. He says he senses a wavering within the ranks and feels that a kind of mutiny is being boiled to the surface of this whole geoengineering global whitewashing, if you catch my drift. My cousin still has friends in high places too, so he is helping to protect the pilot. This came December 11. Last word from the pilot was, quote, all pilots on leave are required to report to their CO by December 15th for special training operations to qualify for Indigo Phase 2 flights, expected to be initiated by January 21. Those were his words, not the actual Air Force message. He wanted me to stress that. He believes that the focus of their flights will be moved to areas east of California and Texas in order to progress the drought further into the heartland. Plus, he feels that a very new, extremely toxic chemtrail mix is going to be sprayed using new technology that makes these special chemtrails completely invisible. Atmospheric shield of protection. He doesn't believe that either. So that's the end of the message from this chemtrail pilot. And I just, from my own experience, I've had a lot of contact with this guy for 6 months via the internet, and basically everything he's told me has turned out to be true. So I have no reason to doubt any of this. So hope you can forward this. This also points out how difficult it is to fight this program, because the people inside the program are not subject to public opinion or public information sources. So we need to brainstorm and come up with a way to shut down this program, as it is actually heating the planet and killing everything with the elevated UV and toxic metals. Thank you for listening.
First, I would start with the fact that we at geoengineeringwatch.org, the largest website in the world on the subject, don't recognize the chemtrails term. Semantics is important because if people search that term, they find conspiracy theory and hoax by design. So we advise sticking to the climate science terms: climate engineering, geoengineering, solar radiation management. In regard to the proof we have, in addition to having government documents, Senate documents, presidential documents, we have U.S. Air Force former generals, 2 former generals communicating with us. We have NASA satellite imagery like that, which you're showing right now, that clearly no one needs to know anything about meteorology to see that there's very unnatural patterns in those cloud formations. In fact, patterns that nature cannot make. In addition to our testing of precipitation from around the globe, which has yielded without exception the climate engineering components in the precipitation: aluminum, barium, strontium, polymer fibers. We have just at great expense and great effort completed atmospheric testing using a flying laboratory that NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, also uses, and we have just confirmed the same climate engineering elements that were emitted from aircraft in a layer that we flew through. We have just confirmed this, first type of its test ever. This is a court admissible type of evidence. I could go on, but the bottom line, in addition to all this, we have film footage of these aircraft at altitude turning on and off. You can't turn condensation on and off with the nozzles visible. As you see in that particular image you're showing now, you can see the nozzles on the wings. We have up-close photographs as well. If people don't believe what they see with their own eyes, I think there's not much we can show.